Welcome to What in the World, where we cover stories from the weird to the interesting. I'm Ricardo Aguilar.
And I'm Catherine Smith. Let's get started with our first three stories for today.
Two men from Florida were recently arrested in Ohio for being in possession of $84,000 worth of cocaine. Where was all of it stored? Inside a couple of Lunchables boxes, of course. Ohio State Highway Patrol pulled over a speeding truck and found a loaded handgun as well as suspiciously heavy boxes of Lunchables. When inspected, about 4 pounds of the drug was found with no other snack in sight. If convicted, the two men could face up to 22 years in prison with a fine up to $40,000.
The world's largest bee species has been spotted for the first time in years. The Wallace's giant bee was not seen since 1981, but has been recently found on an island in Indonesia. In fact, it was recently thought to be extinct. The finding came on the last day of a 5-day trip to Indonesia's Moluccas Island as part of a Search for Lost Species program by the Global Wildlife Conservation.
A man in Germany lost his license to carry firearms after his own dog shot him with a rifle. The court in Munich, Germany dismissed the man's appeal against an earlier decision made by Bavarian authorities to withdraw his license. A similar incident happened in Germany 2 years ago, where a German hunter was shot by his dog with a loaded gun in his car. The 2016 incident saw the man not only lose his weapon license, but also his hunting license. So, back in my day, I remember like Lunchables not having illegal drugs, but I don't know what's going on today, you know?
People these days, they come up with the most creative ways to distribute drugs, which is very inappropriate, especially since a child is going to be using a Lunchable and it has a negative connotation towards a Lunchable now, which is really distracting.
Yeah.
But something that concerns me is, how does a dog shoot its own owner?
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to wonder. Like, I've been also trying to look into like different other stories of where it happens in other countries and even like here in the United States where people got shot by their own dogs. And I still can't figure it how. Like, do they just step on the trigger or what's going on there?
See, as somebody who has had a background with rifles, I know that you have to put a safety on it in order for it to be safely put into some place that's whether your safe or your drawer or whatever it may be. How that may be a dog being able to step on a gun, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Anyways, we'll be back right after this, yeah, we'll be back on the show today.
What does it mean to be a war hawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a war hawk, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind
and never quit.
Because
that's the war hawk way.
The mission of the food pantry is to lower our food insecurity on campus, and we realized that a campus food pantry was extremely necessary. So that's why we got it started as soon as possible. Mostly we're looking for toiletries because we get a lot of food from our food provider, like shampoo, soap, toilet paper.
The food pantry is located in Whitehall and is open from 2 to 5 Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Donation boxes are located in the UC, or you can go online and donate on the UWW Foundations page. For more information, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/UWW Campus Food Pantry.
There's a Tinder-inspired app out there that helps UK farmers match up for potential partners. Not for themselves, though, but for their cattle. Named Tutter, the newly launched app allows farmers to swipe right for the cattle they like and are then directed to a site called Sell My Stock. There's details for more information such as milk, yield, protein, content, and calving potential, helping farmers decide which animal to buy for breeding. Sell My Stock has listed over $64 million of livestock in the last year. Tutter also represents around 42,000 UK animals on its app.
A man in Kentucky accidentally bought his wife turnips instead of tulips for Valentine's Day. The husband misheard his wife's words and assumed the turnips were for her garden. Of course, the wife was surprised to hear that her turnips had arrived, but said that her husband was lucky that she likes root vegetables. The husband soon ended up buying tulips as well as candy and balloons, and the turnips themselves came inside a bucket that said, "I love you."
A woman in Perth, Australia dressed up in a gorilla police costume after being fed up about a man flashing women at a local park. The woman had been confronted by the man on his bicycle many times before during her walks, and other women shared similar experiences. For 3 days, the woman patrolled the park and later chased the man on her own bike as well as informing police. The man has been caught and was charged with 4 counts of incidents acts over 9 months and will later face court.
After losing in his first fantasy football game, a man in Arlington, Texas had to perform a punishment. He walked around a dog park, but only in a Speedo, as well as being entirely covered in peanut butter. He hoped to finish the challenge as fast as possible, with dog owners being curious and amused when he said he lost a bet. The man still intends to play fantasy football again, but not with the same group. The alternative to taking the dare was paying $250 to the winning person. So I had that kind of thing happen to me a lot in terms of mishearing people saying things. More often that should happen.
Oh, of course, but bless this man's heart. He wanted to make his wife so happy, and I mean, I love tulips, but I will get turnips at any point. If my boyfriend, husband, or whatever it may be were to purchase them for me, my heart would truly be touched.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's just them giving a gift, with the intention of they thought that you would want something like that. And it's here you go. And it says I love you on the bucket. It's so nice. It
just had to be so heartbreaking for that husband, but so hilarious for the wife. So I give him so much kudos.
I bet they're going to be talking about that for the years to come. It's remember that time when I bought you turnips instead of tulips?
Absolutely. I totally agree.
We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Step into a place that's alive with creativity. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our students have a passion for art, graphic design, music, dance, and theater. We're here to help you discover your artistic potential. From classic techniques to modern innovations, UW-Whitewater is an outstanding place to learn your craft and prepare for your career. So bring your talents and imagination. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want a break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
It has been taking away our potential for decades, but since 2009, campuses nationwide are becoming tobacco-free. Tobacco has been eliminated from bars, restaurants, and many other public places. Why should our schools be any different? For more information, visit the Ambrose Health Center.
Video One Media Services provides accomplished students the opportunity to enhance their college experience by working with real-world clients. In addition, we provide clients local and affordable video options to better enhance their media needs. For more information on how Video One Media Services can help you with your next media project, email or call our office at 262-472-5659.
sometimes fortune cookies do really work. A man in Maryland won $100,000 in the lottery, all thanks to a fortune cookie he had earlier that day. The man was eating lunch at a Chinese buffet with his brother, receiving a fortune cookie saying it was his lucky day. Later at a 7-Eleven, the man heeded the cookie's words, borrowed money from his brother to purchase the winning Powerball 8 ticket. He plans to share the money with his brother as they both consider visiting relatives in Argentina, Guatemala, and Italy.
A missing African gray parrot named Hugo has been recently reunited with its owner in Ireland. The parrot was found wandering on Dublin Airport's main runway and was taken to the Kildare Animal Foundation. 4 potential owners called in, but one man claimed that he taught his parrot a few Slovakian words. The parrot became excited when she heard her owner's voice recording, and soon the two became united once again. Hugo has been with her owner for 2 years and goes everywhere with him. They initially became separated when something scared Hugo off.
That's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time on What in the World?